Hi, I'm Paul. So behind me, that is the best-selling car in the world. The Tesla Model Y. It's just been updated as part of what is actually a fairly major overhaul for this vehicle. And as a previous Model Y owner, I'm going to run you through some of the changes, the ones that I like, the ones that I don't like. What you're looking at here is the Model Y. It's called the Juniper, the update that they've done. This here is the long range, so it's a mid-spec. There isn't a performance out at the moment, but it is coming soon. And the entry level for the Australian market is still a rear-wheel drive setup, whereas this is an all-wheel drive setup. This is priced now at just under $70,000. If that is too expensive, the entire range kicks off at just under 60 grand, so it's a $3,000 increase over the outgoing model. Today we're going to do a detailed review of this car, so if you do want to skip ahead to other parts of this review, you've got time codes up on the screen, or if you're on YouTube, you can scroll down and use the chapters below. Now, on the design front, I reckon this has RoboCop vibes. Have a look at that, the slit across the front there. Both the front and the rear have this LED running light that's on while you're driving. It looks really cool. What isn't so cool though is the pricing of some of these optional colors. They start at $2,300. I mean, that is insane money for optional colours, and that's really where they get you. The standard price has gone up, but they've also then jacked up the price of some of the optional colours. So you really can't get away without spending money unless you want just a white car, which some people do, which is perfectly fine. Some of the changes down to the front here include headlight positioning. Previously, everything was bundled into one lamp, whereas this is now a sort of split setup. So LED running light, headlight down here, indicator built into here. That's a departure from the single setup that they had previously. They've also now integrated a camera down the front here as well to assist with things like parking. They've deleted all of the ultrasonic parking sensors, which I think is a terrible idea. It doesn't work that well on the Model 3 Highland, and I suspect it's going to work quite poorly here as well, but you do have that set of cameras to help with parking and measure distances to things that the vehicle is approaching. Around the side here, a little bit of aero as well. The car has improved in terms of range thanks to aero changes, and funnily enough, stuff like headlights are able to get better aero by moving these headlights around. So funny little setup. Down the side here, you've got a set of standard 19-inch alloy wheels, nice and chunky 45 profile tyre there as well, on some Hankook EV tyres. Sound a bit gross, so we'll see what they're like when we go for a bit of a spin. Little plastic cover there. Now that's part of, again, that aero setup. This plastic cover helps reduce drag, so it means that you're able to extract just little bits of range out of the vehicle. Plastic wheel arch protector there as well. This is where one of the cameras is located. So you've got two on either side, one up the front there, one up the top here. You've got some down the side here as well in that B pillar. One of the cool features here of the Model Y and other Tesla products as well, one of the things that I loved when I owned one, is Sentry mode and being able to monitor the surrounds of the vehicle when you're not there. You're now able to access Sentry mode and the clips through your phone, so you can actually stream what is happening and what has happened through the phone as well, which is just a really big step forward and just a cool feature that you don't find in a lot of other brands. You've got privacy glass. They've retained the glass roof. Changes to the windows include acoustic glass, which is meant to reduce the road noise coming into the cabin. So handy feature, because there was a fair bit of road noise in the previous generation car. So that is something they claim to have improved. Come around the back with me. Now around the back here, this is probably my favorite angle of this car. Check out this red strip that runs along there. So you've got individual Tesla lettering here. They've moved the button for the boot to here as well, so it's a really good location. Very easy to grab hold of while you're approaching the vehicle. You can also have the boot open automatically as you approach the vehicle as well. Dual motor badge down here, which signifies that this is obviously the dual motor. The performance version has an underline there. This is cool because at night time, it actually projects onto the road behind the vehicle. So when you're changing lanes and you get that side camera come up, you actually get to see illumination down the back of the car, which is just a cool setup. People following you also get a great angle there of that LED strip, which is cool. Diffuser down the bottom here as well, which is all sort of pretty straightforward. So let me know what you reckon about the design in the comments section below. Do you like the look of it? What do you think about the pricing? It has gone up in price. Do you think it's a bit of a stretch? Are you looking at some of the other Chinese brands in this segment now as well? I'm keen for your feedback. Let me know down there. So we're inside the Model Y. Let's run through some of the changes. We'll start off with the key. So that's what the key looks like. It's just a card. Most people will just use their phone. So as you approach with your phone, You just grab the door handle and away it goes. We've actually shot a lot of videos recently on like a spate of cars getting stolen, and certainly in Victoria, it's like the crime capital of Australia at the moment. There's so many cars getting stolen, and pretty much all of them have a proximity key, and it allows thieves to just either clone keys or use, in the case of Toyotas, like CAN bus injection to steal cars. I've yet to see any Teslas get stolen. It just seems like the security's top notch. There is no external key port, so you can't actually sort of jam anything in there to unlock a door. So it is highly secure from that point of view, which is pretty good. Outside of that though, in terms of what this interior looks like and what's changed, so LED lighting strip now runs along the top there. You can customize the colors there as well and change them to whatever you want. We've changed some of this material. So in our car, this was like a wood grain material with a black interior. With the white cars, it was like a white strip of some sort. Now it's this sort of fabric material that they've run along there. It is actually like a nicely presented interior with really good storage, which we'll get to soon. I've also changed the infotainment system slightly, so it's a little bit bigger now, and I'll get to that in just a second. Now, what about your touch points? So in the center there, sort of soft on the door as well. How soft are those touch points? Well, we've got our gyrometer. We've tested the main surfaces in this cabin. If you do want to see how this car compares to others that we've tested before, there is a link in the description below. Now, build quality. What is it like? A little shake test there that all feels nice and solid. For what it's worth, our Model Y had no build quality issues, which is good. This is what the door slam sounds like. It's no longer tinny. It's got a nice sort of European sound to it. Now, let's talk about infotainment. So the usable screen size has increased slightly, so it's just over 15 inches in size. Tesla's also made changes to the steering wheel. So gone are the multi-stalks. You only have one stalk now, and it is just an indicator stalk. So up, down. That's all it does. Gear changes are now done on the screen here, which I'll run you through when we go for a drive. Headlights are now done here on the steering wheel. So you press that top one for high beams, press the bottom one for your windscreen wipers. It's a very sort of changed setup, and I've spent a bit of time driving this around now, and it seems to work. I didn't love the indicators on the steering wheel with Model 3, but the fact that they've moved this back up here and will probably do the same thing to Model 3, I think is a really good change. So in terms of the actual infotainment system itself though, this is where everything else happens. So climate controls, radio, navigation, etc. They've improved the voice recognition, so it actually works now. When you want to tell it to call people or ask it to do things, it actually works. They've changed things like integration of weather into here. I also love as well with our, now you're not going to see anything here because it's clear weather today, but they now have map overlays for weather. So you can see here beyond Australia, you've got some nasty sort of weather over Fiji and all that sort of stuff. So handy thing to know what you're about to drive into, and then the rest of the standard functions with your satellite overlays and also things like traffic and getting a better understanding of where your superchargers are located. Now, in addition to that, you still have all your other sort of classic Google functions. So navigation using online search, so you can just type in a business name and it will find it for you without sort of any dramas. Then, I mean, the apps just keep changing here. There is so much. You've got your dash cam that's built into the car for dash camera while you're driving, and also Sentry mode while the car is stationary. Theatre, which includes all of your streaming options for stuff like YouTube and Netflix, etc. Keep in mind, you're going to have to pay $10 a month to get access to premium subscription for a lot of that stuff to actually work. The toy box, which has all of the silly things like the megaphone and all the sort of fart modes and the light show and all that sort of stuff. And then outside of that, you also have Spotify integrated into here, plus YouTube Music, Apple Music now as well, Apple Podcasts. So they're desperately trying here to make it so that you don't need Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. But in my opinion, you do need Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, because the problem you have here is that when you're driving along, everything on this screen requires you to take attention off the road, including stuff like your speed. There is just no easy way to do stuff here, and everything is so small and hard to use while you're trying to concentrate on driving that it just really becomes annoying after a while. So stuff like Apple CarPlay just allows you to run everything through voice commands, send text messages properly. You know, it just, I don't know, it's just something they need to just get on with integrating, instead of just having a litany of apps for all this stuff that you could just have a simple smartphone integration for. So anyway, enough complaining about that. And this is also where you're going to control everything like opening and closing your boot, front, charging port, etc., plus all your vehicle settings as well. That's all located through here too. So fully loaded infotainment system just takes a little while to get used to and can be a little fiddly to use while you're driving. On the audio front, this spec of the car gets 16 speakers, so 15 screen plus a subwoofer. Great sound system. I've always loved the sound system in Teslas. You've got FM, DAB radio plus the integration of Spotify if you do want to pay for your premium subscription. You then also need to bring your own Spotify account as well, so it's going to cost you even more money, whereas previously it was just integrated as part of that premium subscription. Let's talk safety. So you've got an auto-dimming rear vision mirror. There's a camera here for internal vision through the Sentry function. They've now integrated a blind spot indicator into this meshed section over here, which is a welcome addition. They've got this sort of Kia Hyundai clone of the indicator camera on the side, which is a handy feature to have, so you can actually see what's going on in your blind spot before you do a head check. You don't have any parking sensors, so no ultrasonic sensors. It relies entirely on camera system alone. We will test that later on to see whether it's better, but when we tested it in the Model 3, it really wasn't a very good system at all. You've got radar cruise, well, actually not radar cruise control. You've got distance-based cruise control with a lane-keeping function. We'll test that a little bit later on as well. And then now a 360 camera, because they've integrated a front camera as well. So let's have a look at that. Quality of that, well, it's technically not 360. It's sort of, I don't know what you'd call it, but there's your front view, there your side views. You actually have a washer on the front camera as well to keep that nice and clean. I'll pop this into reverse. That's what the rear camera looks like. So the quality's okay. It's a little bit grainy around there. Could be a little bit better. And this is what the horn sounds like. Moving on to practicality, and we'll start off with connectivity. You've got dual wireless phone chargers up the front here. I do like, so they've got a USB-C port in here and then a 12-volt outlet down here. I do like the storage here. This is, you know, we reviewed, what did we review the other day? The ID4 Volkswagen. They have the same amount of space, but it's just not enclosed. So as a result of that, you just can't store valuables in the car because you can clearly see them through the windows. Whereas here, you've got cup holders, you've got really deep storage down here, plus more storage in here. They really have thought about practicality here and just giving you as much storage as humanly possible. You've got glove box over here, which you activate using the screen. It's pretty small, nothing sort of too crazy there. No sunglasses holder or anything like that, but storage from a family point of view, it's actually quite good in here. Now moving on to comfort. This is where things get pretty cool. So you've got dual zone automatic climate control, which is great, but now you have heated and cooled seats, which I think is a big step forward, because that was one of the things I didn't really love about our car. You just didn't have any sort of breathability in the seats, and with that roof, you just get so much heat coming through it that now having cooled seats there really makes a big difference. You've got dog mode, camp mode. You can keep the AC running while you're out of the car as well, so a lot of really good features there. Plus, probably one of the most underrated features in any car today, which they don't really advertise all that much, but is huge, a HEPA filter. So this, you can be following, you know, a vehicle spewing a whole bunch of diesel smoke and you just don't notice anything inside the car. You don't have to do anything when you get into tunnels. It is just a really awesome feature that when you get back into a normal car that doesn't have like a HEPA filter and you're just smelling all these fumes, you're like, God, I wish I had this. So that is a really cool function. Outside of that, you have electric adjustment for the driver and front passenger. So you can go forwards, backwards. Your backrest can go forwards and backwards. You can lift the front of the seat, back of the seat. You've got lumbar adjustment as well, along with seat memory. The steering offers tilt and reach adjustment. It's electrically adjustable through this screen. It's one of those annoying fiddly things, but given it's linked to driver profiles, you only really need to do it once, and then you don't have to think about it outside of that. Which is good. And on our reach test, all of this stuff is easy to reach while you're driving. Now, second row, what's it like back here? This feels much nicer. It feels like they've focused a bit more on the second row here and giving it a premium vibe. So you've got that sort of material coming back to the back here, which feels nice. So knee room's great, toe room is excellent, headroom is really good as well. This is what I love about the Model Y. Second row, there is so much space here to work with. So they've done a fantastic job with that. So map pockets over here. Touch on that in a second. Center armrest here with a couple of cup holders. I want to touch on this. So you got two USB-C ports there, plus air vents here. I reckon this has got to be one of the most useless features. This is right up there with passenger displays on stuff like the Porsche Taycan and new Ram. I've just got issues with it. Like, just picture your kid sitting here, just lobbing a foot through that. It's going to just break that straight away. Your kids can't really use it either, because if you do want to watch anything, your head's just craned down to this screen down here that's just awkwardly located. Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's a complete waste of money, and they should have just dedicated, you know, whatever that costs into reducing the price of the car or doing something else inside the car. But anyway, so this is where you control your climate functions here for the second row. and you sort of you faff around with some of those controls. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's worthwhile. Other thing I noticed as well is that this roof, yeah, it goes all the way back, but for some reason they've stopped the tinting just here. I don't know if that's just a fault here on this press car, but that looks pretty half-assed to me. The other thing I'm going to be critical of as well is this right here. So you've got a button here to get out of the car. And, you know, there've been news stories about people that have passed away inside cars like this where you don't have manual release for the second row, because if you are in an accident where it kills your electrics, this button ain't going to do anything. Now, they have buried right down here a manual release for this second row. Problem is, even now in my unpanicked state, I don't even know how to open that. So you can imagine that if you've just been in a wreck that you want to get out of the car pretty quickly, you need to figure out that, yes, there is a manual release down here. Hope that you don't have other stuff in your door pocket. Figure out how to release that, then make your way out of the car. I just think just install door handles. It is so simple and it will solve all of these issues. So now our window test, does it go all the way down? So it's auto up and down? No, it does not. Now let's talk cargo space. So crack this thing open. You've got, finally, this, which is good. That was never in our car. It's a little bit sort of chintzy in terms of the way that it works. I'll just move that out of the way for the moment. You've got around 1,000 litres to work with here, but the important thing to remember is how much space you have tucked away under here. Have a look at that. That is enormous. And then over here as well, you've got a little bit more storage under there too, plus off to the sides as well. So it is pretty generous there in terms of what you can fit in. That's what it looks like with the suitcase in there as well. And the good thing, I guess, with this cargo blind is that you can just reef it out of the way if you need to. You can now also recline the seats electrically. So by pushing this button over here, you can see that it sort of reclines out of the way there. Likewise, that one. You lose 20 litres of space for the mechanism they've installed for this. And that does expand the space to around 2,000 litres. I did notice just then as well that the passenger seat moved out of the way to make room for that headrest too, which is a handy little feature to have. So it is a big old space there once you sort of look at it like this. In addition to all of this, you also have storage up the front, a little over 100 litres of space. Now let's talk about charging and battery. So you've got 75 kilowatt hour battery. It's an NCM battery, so a battery that contains nickel. You've got both AC and DC charging. DC charging can occur at a maximum of 250 kilowatts, but an average of about 125 or thereabouts. So okay, but sort of not amazing. AC is 3-phase up to 11 kilowatts. Driving range of over 550 Ks, which is pretty good. Now, the other thing to note as well with that type of battery, that you don't really want to be charging that to 100% constantly. It's sort of a 20 to 80% battery, so something just worth keeping in mind. Okay, we've just hit the road in the Model Y Juniper. Look, first thing I've got to call out is the ride. They have like totally transformed this. So our Model Y, the previous gen, we were on the base model with 19. So it was as good as it was ever going to get before you stepped up to low profile tires. And it was still really firm, just way too firm and too over the top. This, on the other hand, it is like chalk and cheese. It's like you're driving a completely different car. These frequency selective dampers have just changed the way that this feels behind the wheel to the point where you would not know that you're driving a Tesla. And something must have changed at Tesla. They must have fired the ride and handling guy and said, no, it doesn't work, it's too firm, and just completely changed their strategy because it doesn't feel anything like a Tesla used to. So that is definitely excellent news. You can hit speed humps at sort of reasonable speeds and not have it crash through the cabin. So I'm really impressed with how that's gone. So we'll see what it's like when the speed picks up a bit, but certainly at lower speeds, this is doing an excellent job. So long range uses a twin motor setup. So you've got one motor on the front axle, one motor on the rear axle. They produce a combined 378 kilowatts of power and 493 newton meters of torque. Now, I'm not sure how accurate that torque figure is because it doesn't seem like a huge amount of torque for the pace that this car accelerates at. So it might be a figure that is underdone, but it's the only figure we can find on this car. So if you do know of another figure, let us know in the comments section below, but this is all we could come across, and I checked a number of different sources. Now, what does all that feel like behind the wheel? Nice, yeah, very good. Very nice. It's got a very strong punchy push off the line there, and even sort of mid-range acceleration while the car's already moving. Still feels really nice and strong. So they've done a good job there calibrating those motors. They've got slightly more range now with the facelifted Model Y, so you're getting better performance out of that battery. So they've kind of tweaked not only your acceleration performance, but the amount of range that you're able to get out of the car. Tesla, masters of the single pedal driving setup, and still feels really good in this car. You roll out of it, quite a strong set of regen, and then it rolls all the way down to a stop where it then holds the brake. So that system is quite good. It's worth actually touching on this as well. So this is where the gear lever is now. I mentioned before that the stalk is now gone. You basically put it into reverse and into drive just using this. If this ever fails, you do have a button panel up the top here that's kind of hidden until you push it, and that lets you switch between gears as well. Now, in terms of efficiency, Tesla claims a combined average of about 15 kilowatt hours per 100 Ks. We'll jump over to our trips over here. Just got to mention the wipers just are randomly going off for some reason as we just drive around. So I don't know what's going on there, but there is definitely no rain in the sky at the moment. So we're currently averaging just under 17 kilowatt hours per 100 Ks. So not quite meeting the claimed average, but still pretty good for a vehicle this size, especially a long range vehicle. Typically when you step into the long range cars that have an additional motor and bigger batteries, they tend to consume a bit more. But this, on the other hand, just seems to be pretty reasonable. Okay, now time to test the car on our sine waves. Do this at 130 k's an hour, which is the maximum speed limit in Australia, and it just gives us an idea of what body control's like when the speed picks up. And given the last one was so firm, it was quite reasonable through this. Oh, that's super bouncy. Yeah, so by softening the ride out like they have, they've introduced quite a bit of floatiness there over sine waves. So you're going to notice that if you're out on a country road and it's sort of bouncing around a bit. This is probably going to affect it mid-corner as well. If you hit a bump mid-corner, it'll kind of shuffle the car across. So good, but not sort of amazing there in terms of body control. Now, given they've softened out the ride, what is it like on our bouncy road? So we do this at 90 k's an hour. It's a shocker of a road. It's got lots of potholes and corrugations. It'll just give us a good idea of what the ride is like. So this feels fantastic. So when you drove over this in the previous generation car, this was very rough. I'll explain that noise in a second. This was very rough and not very nice. Even on the condensed sine wave there and this pothole stretch here, it feels fantastic. So glad they've fixed the ride there. That beeping sound, I complain a lot with Chinese market vehicles how their ADAS systems aren't very well tuned and how they can be really annoying. This has to be one of the most annoying, because every time you drive the car, it switches on this emergency lane keeping thing, and if you just touch a line or get even near a line, it shunts the wheel and it just gives you that really annoying beeping, buzzing sound. So every time you drive the car, you've got to switch that off because it is very annoying. So that is something they need to address and fix, because it absolutely does not really work that well. Now, in terms of your drive modes, you access them through the screen here. You've got standard and chill. So chill, it just sort of dulls throttle response. You can then adjust your deceleration. You've got traction control mode, auto, slippery surface, and off-road assist, none of which is useful now, and then steering weight as well. Let's go for a drive, or a faster drive around our ride and handling track. We do this in all cars to see what the handling is like. So brake pedal feels pretty good. Tip it into here. All these tyres aren't very good. Throttle out of there. Nice. That is excellent. So you can feel a bit of dive there with that softer suspension setup, but when you lean on the throttle out of these corners, I can feel the stability control biting there. When you lean on the throttle out of these corners, it hooks up really nicely. You've got excellent feel. There's not a huge amount of body roll, but it is these mid-corner bumps that you can hear the traction control going nuts there. It's really annoying. That stability control setup, needs to be improved. We've had this issue with previous Tesla products as well, where it's just a bit too hyperactive, and it does it when you're mid-corner and you hit a bump. It sort of ruins the experience. Right now it's just flashing away there, even though nothing's actually happening. Punch it on the back straight here. Nice. Yeah, look, that all feels great, but just that stability control really needs some work. I think it is one of the Achilles heels of Teslas, just their lack of ability to finely tune the stability control to give you freedom of movement through the corners, or at least offer some sport stability control mode that allows wheels to rotate, because at this stage it's just not very well tuned. And if you want to go for a faster drive, which you might want to do in this car because it is quite sporty, you're just going to get disappointed with that. Same story with the tyres. They're sort of EV focused tyres, and that typically means, and certainly in this case with these Hancooks, that you just have no traction mid-corner, so it just sort of dulls that experience a little bit. So better tyres and stability control tune definitely needs to be on the cards for Tesla. Now let's talk about road noise. Now this is something else they claim to have improved with acoustic glass and a number of changes to the chassis that have reduced the amount of noise that comes through the cabin. From where I'm sitting here, it actually sounds pretty good. It's not amazing. On coarse chip roads you do still notice road noise coming into the cabin, but it is definitely an improvement over the previous generation car. We've put it up against our calibrated sound meter. If you do want to see how this car compares to others that we've tested before, there is a link in the description below. Let's chat visibility. So grey down the front there, you can't actually see the bonnet at all, so it's kind of like just a drop off down there. Reasonably sized wing mirrors, they could be a little bit bigger, and visibility out the rear is okay but not amazing. It's quite a narrow envelope there that you're looking through, so could be a little bit better. I wish that actually fit like a digital rear view mirror. I think that would actually do a much better job here of giving you visibility out the back of the car. Okay, so it's time to test our semi-autonomous systems. We use the 3 outer lanes here at 70 k's an hour to see how well it works. So because the stalk's gone, you now just press this center button once to engage it. So basically I've got auto steer active, which is effectively just lane departure or lane keeping assistant with any other brand. We'll see how it goes here. So working well here in this first lane. Unfortunately, unlike other brands, if you do use the indicator, it just cancels it and it goes into a hard regen. So you constantly have to be on the throttle and doing stuff. So watch, if I put that on, it just cancels it, it goes into regen. You've got to then stay on top of it. Okay, so we'll see what it's like on this lane. Drop that down to 70. There we go. It's doing a good job of holding it fairly central here in the lane. All right, our most challenging lane. Not many cars can pass up here, so let's see how this goes. So 70 k's an hour. Forward collision warning, randomly activating. Okay, so it is doing a good job there of holding the vehicle in this lane without any assistance. So excellent. Works well in lanes 1, 2, and 3. Awesome. Now, one thing I complained about with Model 3 Highland when we drove that was how poor this camera-based sort of parking system is that gives you distances to objects near you. So let's see if it's any better here in the Model Y. And I used these cones and the big orange thing over there as an example of it not really working that well, plus the grass, which I'll try in just a second, but let's just see what it does with these cones. So it's detected those. There you go. I'm currently on top of the cone. I have run it over and then it's telling me to stop. So that doesn't work very well. Let me just try up on this thing over here. Yeah, Tesla's basically removed traditional ultrasonic parking sensors and instead gone just for a camera-based system. And it really doesn't work that well. So you can see that object is right in front of us there. This just, well, it's detected it now. Okay, so it's telling us to stop now. So that's actually worked okay, but it didn't work that well with the cone there. Let's just try on the grass now as well. Let's see what it's like over here with these blades of grass. Last time it was having a fit because it thought we were going to hit grass. There you go, that's actually improved. Okay, so they've improved its ability to drive on grass, which is handy. It just still struggles with stuff like cones. But yeah, I don't know. I guess the system is improving. It's certainly better than it was last time, so that is the benefit of being able to do software updates. Now, one thing I want to test while we're out here as well is this mode as well. So it's got auto shift, where it basically will allow you to shift gears without having to touch anything. Okay, so I've enabled that. Let's go over to our cool sheds over here and just see what happens if I sort of drive up to it and try and turn around. We'll just pretend we've reached the end of the road here. Okay, come to a stop there. I want to go in reverse. Go reverse. Do something. No, that doesn't work. Okay, that's pretty crap. Okay, maybe if I pretend like I'm doing a U-turn in a street and we've just come up to this object here. Here we go. So to activate reverse, turn the other way. Okay, so that's working. Okay, so see, that's good. At least it tells you what it's about to do and what you need to do to activate it. I thought it might just do random stuff, but that's actually not too bad. That seemed to work okay. I don't know that I would trust it though, to be honest. I would just prefer to just do it myself. But yeah, anyway, we've tested it. Okay, time to do some performance testing. So Tesla claims a 0 to 100 time of just under 5 seconds. You can actually buy an acceleration boost for the car as well, but I think it's like $3,000 or something. It came standard on the launch series, but this is just a standard long range. Battery's down to 40%, so not ideal, but we will see how it goes. We're going to go all the way through to 120 k's an hour, so we can see our 80 to 120 overtaking time as well, but let's give this a shot. Here we go. Very nice and strong off the line there. Oh, that feels really good. Okay, there's 100 and 120. Very nice. Gee, it gets along all right. Just by the way, if you do want to see this drag racing, a BYD Sea Lion 7, there is a link in the description below. Okay, so 0 to 100, 5.02 seconds. So a little bit off the claimed time, but probably just because the battery is low. And then 80 to 120, 2.99 seconds. That's really good. So that is the time that it takes to kind of overtake someone, and is really nice and sharp there and shows a very strong mid-range for Model Y. Okay, let's do a stop from 100 to see what the brake and tyre package is like. Okay, here we go. Okay, violent little end to that brake. Okay, so 100 to 0, 2.88 seconds and 40.23 meters. So really not an amazing stopping distance. Between 35 and 40 isn't too bad. Above 40, and I think it is down to these tyres. They are very much an EV focused tyre, and you know, you sacrifice grip and obviously stopping distance to get range, which is a little bit disappointing, but yeah, just something to keep in mind. All right, how quick does it go in reverse? Let's find out. All right, so 24 kilometers an hour. Okay, so the updated Model Y, what do we think? Look, this is a massive step forward, and I can't sort of stress enough how much effort they've put into this and how much of a step change it is. It isn't just a facelift, this is a completely different car. Where it is let down though, the parking sensors, I think they need to make a comeback. I don't know why they've got rid of those. The current system, I just don't think works well, and just bring them back, that'll fix that. I also don't like that stability control tune, but if you are using this as a family car and you're not really too fussed about going quickly or going around corners and that sort of stuff, it is just the ultimate family car. Now, what about the pricing though? Now, if Tesla operates the same way they did when we bought our car, we spent about sort of 70, 72 plus on roads. The car was then worth 55 as a brand new car about 2 years later. If they're going to follow the same form, I would just hold out a little bit, because they will have to drop the prices to compete with the flood of Chinese cars that are coming. So if you aren't in a rush, wait about 3 or 6 months. I guarantee, almost guarantee, I'm not going to totally guarantee that they will drop the price and you'll be able to buy one. Alternatively, if you don't necessarily want a facelifted one, they're doing like $10,000 off the pre-facelift. They've still got stacks of cars they can't get rid of. So it's a couple of options there, but if you're not entirely desperate, just hold off a little bit longer and I reckon the price will come down. So let me know what you reckon in the comments section below. Do you reckon they've done a good job with this? Have you ordered one, or are you going to wait for them to drop the price a little bit? Let me know your thoughts. If you did enjoy the video, please make sure you like it and you share it with your mates. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon. But until next time, take it easy.